Hi Healers, Donkey Storm here, and if you're a Holy Priest and you got the basics of the spec down and a few time keys under your belt and you're looking to up your game and start moving into higher end keys, then you've come to the right place, because I'm going to go over some more advanced tips and more nuanced things that you can do in the margin to take your Mythic Plus game to the next level. So let's jump right into it. Okay, one thing that will no longer be optional and will be very, very important to do in higher keys is weaving in your holy words and your heals, taking advantage of all the synergies in your build. So at max flash concentration stacks, a heal heals for around 14k. Now watch how much it heals for after I cast a holy word. So holy word Serenity, here comes my heal. Okay, that one crit for 83k. All right, let's see if we can just get a normal one. So we'll use a holy word Sanctify. Here comes another heal. Okay, that one healed for another crit, 82k. Let's see if we can get unlucky and not crit. We're gonna get 40k. So these heals that come following a holy word are absolutely massive, which means that if you wanna really get big heals out, you need to weave your holy words. You need to cast Serenity, heal. Sanctify, heal. Chastise, heal. And the heal numbers are going to be off the charts when you do that, but you have to take advantage of those synergies. If you're going to just spam heal and keep your stacks up, you're not going to be able to keep up with the amount of damage that comes out at Season 4 dungeons. So do not forget the combos. Holy word, heal. Holy word, heal. You're going to be pumping these big 80k plus crits for heals that are just going to top people all the way off. It's going to be beautiful, but you can't forget to do it. All right, so the first one I want to talk about is Fae Guardians Usage. I know all the top key pushers are going Night Fae right now over Kyrian, and if you're choosing to do that, you have to understand that you're giving up a ton of personal DPS for your own survivability and the ability to pass DPS on to another player. I think that effective Fae Guardians usage with PI probably nets a DPS player somewhere around 10% overall damage, which is more than you would be able to do as Kyrian, but that's only if you're actually using it effectively. So the first way you can up your game is to get an add-on like Omni CD and actually track the cooldowns of your DPS players. So I have Omni CD options up right here. And you can see that I keep track of things like combustion for mage, so that, and it'll show up on my action bars over here, or nameplates over here, so that when I see that combustion come up, I know that I can be hitting PI at like the most effective time, and then I can use Fae Guardians to get that mage their combustion back as quickly as possible. I think a lot of people forget with Fae Guardians that when you cast it, you've got your fairies out and you choose to, put your flash heal on someone, you can also press the Fae Guardians key again and give that player the extra mask buff, which actually increases even more the cooldown reduction of their big DPS ability. So when you use Fae Guardians, make sure that you're first of all using it at an effective time, so watch that cooldown. Like, we don't want to give cooldown reduction to someone who has their cooldown already up, for example. And make sure that you're passing off that mask to the DPS player so that they're getting that DPS back as quickly as possible. You don't always have to use the mask that way. You can use it for the damage reduction side if you really want to, but from my experience, I think being able to use that mask offensively is the most effective way to use it. But if you're not using Night Fae to its high level of value, you're honestly probably better off going Kyrian, getting some boons out, and just using your boon on cooldown like we did in Season 3, because then at least you're getting value out of it. Night Fae is really, really strong, but it takes a lot more coordination with your group, and if you pug, like I often do, you're going to need to basically get that coordination or that information from add-ons and just keeping track of your group. So if you're going to play Night Fae, make sure that you're doing so effectively. Okay, the next piece of advice I'd have for someone who's trying to move into higher keys is that you're going to need to start contributing some DPS. And I kind of look at DPS in sort of layers. So you've got layer 1, which I would say is like your bare minimum. Layer 1 is Divine Star, Holy Fire. Keep those 2 spells on cooldown at all times, and I'd also add like whatever DPS trinket you might have. I've got the Resonant Reservoir trinket. You can see I track it here on a weakaura. Keep those kinds of things on cooldown, and at least that way you're doing like entry level DPS. You're holding your own just by doing Divine Star, Holy Fire, and whatever trinkets. Now, if you've got time on top of that, the second layer of it is pretty much going to be spreading around Shadow Word Pain to all the mobs, casting Shadow Word Death when they get low, and then if you really are an overachiever and you have just nothing else to do, you can just start spamming Smite. And of course, Holy Word Chastise too. We can keep that on cooldown as well. But we got to start contributing DPS. So we want to keep Holy Fire on cooldown. As soon as it comes up, pop it on something. Divine Star's up, pop it on something. Mob gets low, Shadow Word Death. All right, the next thing you're going to notice as you move into higher keys is that as a Holy Priest, you are very, very squishy, and you're going to need to act accordingly. So rule number 1 for being a Holy Priest is fade, fade, fade. Fade early, fade often. If you know you're going to take some kind of unavoidable damage, fade. If you know there's like a big unavoidable damage mechanic coming, make sure you have fade for that. Use your Fae Guardians on yourself as a defensive if you need to. Use your Guardian Spirit on yourself if you need to. Stack some verse too. Having a good amount of verse on your gear is really important. I like to use my Soleas for verse because I know I'm going to get a ton of haste from the Season 4 affix, and I don't feel like I need any more. Verse is really good. If you feel like you want to get verse from the Season 4 mechanic because you just think you're not going to be able to survive things, go ahead and do it. You can't heal when you're dead. So keeping yourself alive is super important. Fade is on a 30-second cooldown, and you should try and get the most value you can out of that, because Holy Priests take a ton of damage. You'll notice as you move higher and higher, when those big like group AoE things come out, you're always like the lowest person, it seems, every time that happens. So you're gonna have to work around that. You're gonna have to learn to sort of cover up for your own weakness as a healer who can do really big heals but also can die pretty easily. So make sure you're using Fade, make sure you're using Desperate Prayer. It's pretty nice to increase your health pool when you know some big damaging ability is going to come. Guardian Spirit on yourself is one of my absolute favorite moves. When doing so, you can actually die on purpose and bring your health up to 40% for free. So don't forget about that too, but keep yourself alive. It's super important. It sounds obvious, but as you move higher into keys, you're going to see that it can actually be a challenge. Last one is a little baby one, but it's super useful. If you are using Angelic Feather, which you should be on the second talent row, then you really need to have this macro as well, which will cast Angelic Feather at your feet without you needing to place anything. So you just press the button, you get an instant speed boost. And as a class that is very slow, this is super nice. I would say mandatory to playing Priest. So I'm going to leave this macro in the description so you can steal it and use it to great effect. But please make sure that when you're using Angelic Feather, you have this macro going so that you can give yourself a quick and easy speed boost. Super duper helpful. I hope you found these tips helpful as you climb your way into higher and higher keys. If you want to see these in action, I'd recommend checking out my stream right here on YouTube, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 9 p.m. Pacific. Hit that sub button. You'll be able to see every time I go live. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.